Okay, so let's start looking at the code to make this quiz page work. So I'm just going to go over to the blocks. What we need to do is we're going to be working with variables for this. It's going to be a fair bit more complicated than the first screen that we did. So first of all, we need a variable for the score, because the user gets a set amount of points every answer they get right. So, right, we've got a section here for variables. So in order to create our first variable, we want to just initialize global, and then it says name, and this is where you want to name your variable. So I'm going to name it score. Okay, so we've initialized ourselves a variable, and we've called it score. And we just need a value. It's in the math section, and that's its initial value of that variable. So we just want that to be 0 because they start with nothing. Okay, so we've got a variable for our score ready to refer to. We need another one, and we need a variable for the question number. So I'm going to call this question num. So this will probably make more sense when we've gotten to the end of it, and I'll recap on all of it. But we need one for this, and that's the same thing again. We need a value, and that's gonna just start with question 1, logically, unless you want to start with a different question for some reason. So, yep, that's fine. We also need another variable, and that is going to be for the questions themselves. So call that questions. And this isn't just going to be a value, it's going to be a list. And this is our list that's going to go into here that we made earlier. So we've got lists as an option. So we just want make a list. And we want just text because we're going to put in our own questions here. So these are our questions. So I'm going to do the most basic maths questions possible because, like I said, I'm just doing a demo. You want to put in some more challenging things. So this is the question. 1 plus 1 equals question mark. All right, so yeah, you make these questions as challenging as you want to make them. Just bear in mind the brief that you might have. If it's for younger people, you might want to look at, simplifying it a bit. This is probably going to be a bit too simple, though, for you to use, so don't copy me exactly. But right, anyway, these are our questions, so I'm going to copy another one of those. So question number 2 could be 1 add 3. All right. Now, we've run out of options here. What if I want lots of questions? Well, what you need to do is just click on this cog, I suppose, and then get item, and yeah, you can drag it onto there on this little preview. I'm going to add 4 of them, and then you've got some extra options. So I'm going to add a third question. My third question is going to be 2 plus 6. Serious questions. All right, and then I'm going to add in one more thing, one more question. Now, this needs to be blank. All right, so actually here I have 3 questions. The 4th question is nothing. That's one of those things that's going to make much more sense when this whole section is finished. But essentially, we need that to help the cycle of questions. So what you'll want to do, I'm only going to do 3 questions. Okay, again, mine's a demo. You might have plenty more questions than that, and hopefully you will. So you'll just want to add them in here depending on how many questions you have. Okay, but however many questions you have, add an extra one on the end that's just blank. Okay, so that's our questions. Now go back to variables. We need to add in another variable. And this is going to be the actual choices. So I'm going to call it choices. So, when you've got a question, it's going to be multiple choice. Okay, so these are the choices that the user will have to select from. So that's going to be a list. Now, what's going to get a little bit confusing here is that we need a list of choices for each question. So, question 1, there might be 4 different options to choose from. So we need kind of a list within a list. So I'm going to get another make a list and hook it onto there. Another make a list and hook it onto there. Now bear in mind I've got 3 questions, so I need to add, another item into there. Copy and paste that one. And so I've got my list of choices, and within there I've got 3 different lists for each possible question. So use just some text, and these are the choices of answer. Okay, so just put in some random things. So for 2, which we know is the right answer for question 1, I'm going to do out 4 possible answers. Plug that in there, 1 or 5. Okay, so they're just random things. Again, do the same thing here. So I want 4 possible choices for question 2 and 3. Drag those on. Just going to plug in all of these, and then I can just change my possible answers. Again, this is something where you shouldn't just be copying me exactly. You should be putting in your own unique possible choices. So 3, 1, 9, 2. Well, it would help if one of them was right. 4. Remember, this is question 2. This is question 3. So one of them needs to be 8. Okay, fine. That'll do. All right, so I know at least there's the right answer in there for each of them somewhere. Okay, so again, if you've got lots of questions, if you've got like 10 questions, then you're going to have 10 of these. Okay, so next we need another variable, and this is going to be for our answers. So I'm going to call this one answers, and I'm going to make a list again. And again, we've got 3 questions that need answers for, and then a text. So this is what the correct answers will be. So this is where it's going to go to get the answer to, what is the correct answer for each question. So the first one is 2. The second one is 4. And the third one is 8. Right, so yeah, here's where you'll put in the correct answers for each of your 3 questions in the right order. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So let's just recap on what we've done. We've got a global variable for the score, okay, which starts at 0. We've got a variable for the number of questions that the person would be on, okay, which starts at 1. We've got a variable for the questions themselves. I've got 3 questions. You can have as many as you want. Just make sure there's a blank one on the end. And I've got a variable for the choices. So for each question, these are the sort of multiple choice options that will be presented. Okay, for each question. Again, make sure that matches up to the questions in the order that you have up here. And then the answers as a variable as well, and just make sure they're the correct answers to the questions here in the right order. Okay, that's all for now. We'll just do this bit in sections because there's a lot to do. This won't do anything yet. Well, actually, no, that won't. I don't think it will. Try it. I don't think it will actually. When you do the AI companion, I don't think anything will show up in your list yet. No, it won't. So there's not really any point in trying it yet. But make sure that is all set up with your questions, and then you can move on to the next one.